Oh boy, my bold and the beautiful fans. Yes, we made it to the end of the week. We got the Friday cliffhanger. We got a crazy episode to talk about. So let's get to it. First, Lee continues to confront Sheila. We also see Hope turning to Thomas to feel better, and Liam informs Steffy that Finn's keeping Deacon and Sheila's relationship a secret. Welcome back to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where we recap everything CBS Soaps, both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful. This is your Bold and the Beautiful recap for October 20th, and without any further ado, let's talk about this episode. So let's start out at Il Giardino, where we got Sheila and Lee once again, and Sheila got pasta sauce all over her face because Lee slammed her face into the plate yesterday. She is still antagonizing this woman, and again, as much as these people claim Sheila being so dangerous, we need to stay away from her, why do you continue to poke the bear? Provocation can get you hurt. And I mean, honestly, Sheila was thinking about them knives on that table, but obviously her promise to Deacon actually held her back. And she said, you know what? I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to provoke me so I can do something to land back in jail. But I made a promise to my man that, yeah, that's not going to happen. So guess what? It's not going to work this time. Then, of course, Deacon makes it upstairs. And I'm actually kind of sort of disappointed because I thought he was about to go in on Lee, unless that's going to happen on Monday. But if I was him, I would be like, look, what are you doing? She's my staff. This is my place of business. And especially once Sheila tells him that she broke a glass, now you costing me money too. Girl, get your butt up out of here and don't come back. Now, a little bit earlier before this interaction in the restaurant, Deacon had a conversation with Hope because Hope put an ultimatum on the table. It's either me or Sheila. Now, she's claiming that this is a danger to the family and how, you know, you choosing her over me. I'm disappointed in that, Dad. Then she says, Sheila's going to use you for everything you got. She's just using you. And we're going to talk more about somebody using somebody in a little bit. But at this point, Hollis interrupted their conversation because Hope wanted an answer for him to make a decision. And you know what? He took off to deal with the Lee and Sheila situation. So now we're over at Forrester, and guess who's back? None other than little puke waffle boy lame-o Liam, as he is, of course, now looking for Hope to give a toy to Beth. Anyway, they go back and forth until Liam says, I want Steffy back. And Thomas was like, wait, what? You want her back? Well, he can't protect her and he needs to do better, according to Liam, right? Thomas was like, look, I understand maybe Finn need to do better with trying to figure this situation out with Sheila, but that's still her husband. And what do you expect Finn to do? I mean, everybody else haven't been able to do anything. What do you expect him to do? So Liam decided he wants to take off. And of course, I'm glad Thomas spoke up, but obviously it didn't mean anything. It went from one ear right through the other when it came to Liam. Let's talk about that phrase I mentioned earlier, using somebody. So she comes in very distraught, meaning Hope, and she was like, I don't want to talk about my dad. All I want to do is this, do something to make me feel better. And if anybody know where that phrase come from, it's from the Players Club, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that was a movie back in the late 90s. But that's what Hope is doing. Every time she go through some sort of distress, she looks for Thomas to make her feel better. And that's the crazy thing about all of this, because once the kiss was separated and she now come to her emotions about what's going on, she talks about the demise of her marriage, and she don't know if she could find a man who could love her like the way she was in her marriage with lame-o waffle boy Liam, who's been going back and forth between her, Steffy, Ivy, Sally, whoever else for the last over a decade, maybe 12 years plus, but she can't find a man that she could actually love like that and who would love her back. And I'm like, Thomas is standing right in front of you. And Thomas, you're listening to her saying this and you're like, but I always love you and I'll always be there. And it's just me and I'm here for you. And she's like, well, I don't know what I want. I don't know what love is. You know what, Thomas, let that girl be. Let her go figure it out. As much as I'm a Thope fan and I love the chemistry with these two, this is absolutely ridiculous at this point. I'm guessing the only one that is working today besides Thomas is Finn, because people are just floating through, just coming into people's jobs. First is Ridge. Ridge is like, when you gonna tell Steffy that Sheila and Deacon are an item? And you know, Finn was like, look, I'm afraid to tell that girl that because then that might make her stay away even further because it looked like Sheila's not going anywhere. And at least I got to say, Ridge says, okay, well, you're going to have to tell her at some point. You're going to have to be the one to do it. And I know Finn is opening to it, but he's got to figure this out. This is a lot of stress on him. And I know a lot of folks, from what I hear, are not happy with Finn, calling him weak and all of this. What are you going to do? What can he do? I mean, this situation is a hot mess at best. And at this point, you know, I mean, Finn is trying to work a job, trying to get in touch with Steffy, who is way off in Europe somewhere, which she'll be back the week of October 30th. But the thing is like, what do you expect this man to do? So if Ridge wasn't enough, here come lame old waffle boy, little puke Liam. And of course, he's like, what do you want? And he was like, oh yeah, he made a joke about one of the patients. I'm like, really? Kick him out, Finn. Anyway, so he goes in there to say, what are you doing to protect Steffy? She needs to come back home. And Finn is like, look, why don't you mind your business? This is my wife. This is not any of yours to even consider. And then he goes and say, well, I mean, I guess you did tell your wife that Sheila and Deacon is an item. And so he just stood there and looked at him. And I don't blame him because I don't have to tell you anything. You shouldn't even be here. There might be some HIPAA information on my desk. Get up out of this office. Anyway, I digress. So the thing is, he turns around and says, oh, I could tell by your face. You didn't say anything to Steffy, huh? You should have told her. You're purposely keeping that information away from her. And of course, I'm looking at Liam like, Liam, you're keeping some information from Finn, both you and Steffy. How about those kisses that happened a little while ago, and the fact that you were the one that initiated it, but ain't nobody saying nothing about that, huh? You keeping that information away from her too. Anyway, he leaves, meaning Finn, because the man is at work. He got to take care of patients. He decides to stay in his office. I'm surprised ain't nobody tell him to leave. And Finn, you should have told him, let me walk you out. But he's still in Finn's office looking at Steffy's pictures, only to say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to call her anyway. It's not your place. It's not your place, Liam. It wasn't your job to do that. Now, I know some people thought it was, but it's not. He calls to tell Steffy that, oh my God, can you believe that Sheila and Deacon are together? You need to know this, and your husband is keeping it from you. He's purposely not giving you information that you're supposed to know, and I need you to know that I'm going to protect you. You don't need to come back and choose him. You need to come back and choose me. Really, Liam? What about trying to protect your daughter? Your daughter didn't even come up in this conversation. You were all about Steffy when you were talking to Thomas and when you were talking to Finn. Yeah, I'm telling you, I hope he's still in that office on that phone and Finn walked right back into his office and close that door and just let it all loose because he is being very, very disrespectful. Okay, so there you have it, my bold and the beautiful recap for Friday, October 20th, 2023. If you haven't checked out the Young and the Restless recap for today, it has been uploaded to the channel. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Bye.